Hello, good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Nadin Majid.
And I'm Rahna Farooq. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
A compassionate governance, a stable country. Manifesto of Maithripala Sirisena launched in Colombo.
නීති ආධිපත්‍ය මේ රටේ ව්‍යවස්ථාදායකයේ සුරක්ෂිතභාවය මේ සියල්ල ආරක්ෂා කරමින් දේශපාලන ස්ථාවරත්වය ඇති කිරීම අපි පැහැදිලිවම ඒ වගකීම පුළුල් ලෙස බාර ගන්නවා කියන
President says that a Singapore management system is not required for the country.
තවත් සිංගප්පූරුව මේ රටේ ඇති කරන්න බෑ. මේක ශ්‍රී ලංකාවකුයි අලුත් අපි ඇති කරන්න ඕන කියන එක අපි මතක තියාගන්න.
Son-in-law of Sarath Fonseca, Tanuna Tilakaratna, surrenders to court and is released on bail. Shots fired at an opposition activist house in Vidimaliyatta. Campaigning in other areas obstructed.
And on to those stories in detail. President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the country needs a Sri Lankan management system and not a Singapore system. The head of state made this observation at a public rally held in Serunuwara this morning.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who visited the east of the country, also visited the Seruwila Mangala Mahavihara this morning and engaged in religious observances. Subsequently, the president attended a public rally that was organized in Serunuwara.
අපි රාජ්‍ය සේවය කෙරෙහි විශ්වාසයක් තියලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අද මම දැක්කා
We have faith in the state service. Today I listened on the radio on how a leaflet was distributed amongst the state sector employees, or a handbill. It says that the port, the airport, electricity, roads and highways are being carried out by us according to the Singapore system. They say it is given into management. Where is this leading to? We know when the bull turns. It turns towards the banana leaf. I said this a very long time ago. I kept records of the places they visited. They visited the harbour. Then they failed to visit the airport. They attempted to go to the CPC. I was not comfortable with their visits. I told them back then that they were making these visits to conduct estimates on the prices for which these places can be sold. I have been in politics for 46 years and I too can see when people are turning around. We have no policy to become a Singapore. You must take Singapore for an example on other matters. We cannot create another Singapore here. This is Sri Lanka and we need to create it. Remember that.
Singapore ආදර්ශයට ගන්න වෙන ඒවට. තවත් සිංගප්පූරුව මේ රටේ ඇති කරන්න බෑ. මේක ශ්‍රී ලංකාවකුයි අලුත් අපි ඇති කරන්න ඕන කියන එක අපි මතක තියාගන්න.
Addressing the public last evening, President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that immediate steps will be taken to resettle those who are currently residing in relief camps in Jaffna. The head of state made this statement last evening.
Refugees who have been living in relief camps for a period of 24 years met with President Mahinda Rajapaksa in Jaffna last evening. People residing in these camps charged that their camps are left inundated during rainy seasons, after which the President informed the Governor of the Northern Province, G.A. Chandrasiri, to look into the matter and address the issue immediately.
You all have been living in camps for 24 years. Therefore, I do not want to give false promises to you. You should all place your trust in me. You should trust yourselves. I, being the president, am trying to solve the first problem you have presented to me. I am president who does what he says and says what he does.
The presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Maithripala Sirisena, launched his manifesto, A Compassionate Governance, a Stable Country, at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo today. We have a comprehensive report coming up on that story during the bulletin. Meanwhile, Maithripala Sirisena made a revelation at a public rally held in Ruanwala last evening.
Mahinda Rajapaksa පාලනය තුල
In a Mahinda Rajapaksa rule, there was not an era in which there wasn't sexual assault and harassment. How many local government politicians destroyed the lives of women? Where is the punishment for this? When I was party secretary, I was tasked with taking disciplinary action against them. 2 to 3 days later, they told me not to take any measures against them and close the case.
A number of public representatives from the opposition were present at the event.
We have a scared state leader who is threatening those who are powerless in the opposition by keeping falsified files against them and talking about this shamelessly to the media. We do not approve of such politics. It is a shame for our country and nationality to have such a leadership. We do not even have a space to hold meetings. If you say you have good governance, then give any man a space to hold meetings. Maithripala Sirisena says only one thing, and that is to hold a debate with him on any television station. Only millionaires who live in 3-story houses are enjoying every comfort, while the ones who have nothing are left to despair. We will fight against those who have conspired, use the power of the underworld, and who take arms against the people. If they are trying to break the power of the people, we are ready to go to the streets and face them with the people.
Dear President, you have sent a letter to my house stating that my membership from the SLFP has been terminated. It is all right, President. Before you remove our generation from the party, you must remove those from the underworld, drug distributors, child abusers, rapists and ethanol distributors. Because if you don't, those who will be left in the country are them. President, I did not leave the party. I left because of you and your leadership filled with corruption.
Meanwhile, a gathering of a group of public representatives from the opposition took part in a public rally in Avisawella yesterday. The country is governed by immoral forces who commit sinful acts such as those who control casinos, ethanol and arsenic gangs and cigarette distributors. 40% of vegetables in the country go to waste. There is no proper program to solve the 7-year energy problem, while we are still unloading gas and oil from our shores. They have joined with dealers. There is no land to solve the housing issue. While we are faced with major problems such as these, they are constructing highways, ports, beautifying cities and laying blocks on the pavement.
Also in local news, District Court Judge Sujata Alaha Peruma issued notices today on 4 television channels based on a case filed at the Colombo District Court by presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena. Thereby, the heads of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, TV Derana, Hiru TV and Swarna Vahini have been called to appear before court on the 29th of December.
The complaint filed by the presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena cites that excerpts from a speech he made on President Mahinda Rajapaksa whilst he was a cabinet minister 5 years ago are being used in an advertisement. The complaint reads that the use of such material to promote the candidacy of a candidate not only violated the regulations set out by the election commissioner but also harms his candidacy. The requests made to issue an enjoining order on the aforementioned television channels were rejected by court.
The son-in-law of former Army Commander Sarath Fonseca, Danuna Tilakaratne, appeared in court today through an attorney. Tilakaratne is accused in a case at the Colombo High Court for over 5 years, surrendered to High Court Judge Irangani Pereira today.
Danuna Tilakaratne, who appeared in court along with attorney-at-law Niroshana Pereira, explained his reasons for absconding from court. He stands accused of submitting a tender for importing military equipment from a company in Australia without consent. The attorney pointed out that his client's father-in-law was in remand custody during that time and that his mother was frequently taken to the Criminal Investigations Department for questioning. He said the police had offered cash rewards of 1 million rupees for his arrest and his client, considering those, had evaded court for his safety. The attorney informed court that as the situation in the country is not as it was before, his client had decided to surrender to court. High Court Judge Rohini Pereira released the accused on a cash bail of 400,000 rupees and 2 bonds of 5 million rupees each. The accused was also prohibited from going abroad and was ordered to appear before court on the 23rd of December. Since the day this case started, my client had his attorneys appear for him in court as he was not able to be there. The most important thing is that court was bound to grant bail to the suspect in a Public Property Act offence if the bail application was tendered under exceptional circumstances. Because it was forwarded voluntarily, we sought that bail be granted.
At the UPFA press conference convened today, journalists raised questions from MP Ajayantha Katakoda regarding Danuna Tilakaratne being granted bail by court today.
I had an initial request. I first held discussions with the Secretary of Defence. I said that I was prepared to extend my support and I asked if the cases against Sarath Fonseca and the case against his son-in-law can be removed. There was an issue here which said that it was Gotabaya Rajapaksa who put him in prison. I requested from him if he could act on this. He said that he cannot do it, but he will inform the respective teams on this. He said he will try to get some form of relief in this. No, investigations are carried out by the police department and the other teams. He can say to cast aside this case. The president can pardon him according to the constitution. He informed the president. I met the president. The president said he would act on this.
And on to one of our headline stories tonight. The manifesto of the New Democratic Front presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena was launched today under the theme A Compassionate Governance, a Stable Country. The launch was held at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo.
Following religious observances, presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena received the blessings of the Mahasangha and launched his manifesto titled A New Country in 100 Days. The manifesto was first presented to the Mahasangha.
වෛරයෙන් වෛරය සංසිඳෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි කිසි විටකත් කිසිම කෙනෙකුට වෛර කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Hatred will not resolve hatred. We do not hold hatred towards any person at any time. We are engaged in a non-violent battle. My friend Mahinda Rajapaksa, his supporters, MPs and ministers get onto stages and say that if Mahinda Rajapaksa is removed from power, if we win, there will be political instability in the country. My friends, political instability has been created in the country at present. It is not cabinet that governs this country. It is not the legislature or parliament that governs the country. This country is governed by a single family. That is how the country has become unstable. If this continues, a very serious situation will arise in this country. I wish to respectfully remind you that we have taken up the task of ensuring political stability in the country, ensuring the country moves forward with strength, ensure the rule of law and secure the sanctity of the legislature.
අපි පැහැදිලිවම ඒ වගකීම පුළුල් ලෙස බාර ගන්නවා කියන එක ඊටාම ගෞරවයෙන් මේ අවස්ථාවේ මතක් කරන්නට ඕනේ.
The manifesto has 11 central themes. Chief among these is the proposal to abolish the executive presidency with the support of Parliament within 100 days and establishing a government structure with an executive that is connected to Parliament via the cabinet. The manifesto also pledges to amend the election system and abolish the 18th Amendment to the Constitution within 100 days. The manifesto also speaks of an economy that will uplift the country and pledges to end large-scale corruption in the country and initiate tenfold the development that has taken place over the past 6 years. The manifesto also pledges to increase the Samurdi payment by double at the very least, to increase the wage of public sector employees by 10,000 rupees and to provide an interim allowance of 3,500 rupees per month until pension arrears are settled. The manifesto also includes a 5-point program to establish a model society, which includes increasing the size of warnings on cigarette packets to cover 80% of the surface area of a packet. The manifesto, which puts forward a broad program on food security and sustainable agriculture, pledges to fulfill 16 factors, including providing a farmer's pension that matches the cost of living and to provide a certified price for agricultural produce. The manifesto also pledges to increase the current allocation of 1.8 0.8% of the budget for healthcare to 3% to ensure productive healthcare service under compassionate governance. A pledge has also been made to allocate 6% of GDP for education. Maithripala Sirisena also promises to restructure the foreign service within 100 days using individuals with professional skills and foreign service professionals. The manifesto also pledges that no international force would be allowed to lay a hand on or harass any citizen of the country with regard to the defeat of terrorism. An economic policy targeting industries and services to eradicate unemployment is to be established under this compassionate governance. With regard to public sector employees, the manifesto pledges to make permanent or contracted and casual employees who fulfill the recruitment criteria and have completed 180 days of service. A pledge has also been made to return the 50,000 rupees paid by public officials for the motorcycles purchased by them on a concessionary basis. Also among the proposals is the pledge to remove the tax of over 40 billion rupees on fuel in order to reduce fuel costs and the introduction of special concessions for three-wheelers and motorcycles. Maithripala Sirisena also pledges to immediately seize the use of state media as a propaganda weapon of the ruling party in order to provide a balanced service and to ensure the citizens' right to information to the maximum.
We have come here to create a 100-day program, to create a new Sri Lanka on the basis of this 100-day program. This compassionate governance will be akin to the Lichavi democracy. We will take all the varying opinions that we have and bring about a Lichavi democracy which contributed to the progress of the Lichavi kings of old. That is the primary duty of the compassionate governance. This is not about Maithripala Sirisena's future, Ranil Wickremesinghe's future, Champika Ranawaka's future, or Maduluawe Sobitathera's future. It is to do with your future. Your future.
A case filed at the Kandy High Court against 5 persons, including a minister Kehelia Rambukwella, was taken up once again today.
The case was filed in 2002 over a bomb attack said to have taken place in early March in Kurunduwatta, Navalapitiya in 1999. The case was filed under 13 indictments, including causing injury to Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage and being members of an illegal meeting. Minister Kehelia Rambukwella arrived in court today along with Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage. The case was postponed to the 6th of June. I do not know what this is. What is the case? I do not know of it. I cannot even remember the number. I speak of it later.
Speaking at a meeting held last evening, opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the executive presidency will be abolished and a parliamentary election will be called for.
This meeting took place last evening in Ingiriya under the auspices of opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe and several others.
There is no freedom, nor is there a Sri Lanka Freedom Party. It's just there for namesake. This is a massive issue in the country. Is there democracy in the country? There is an autocratic system. We need to change this. We need to abolish the executive presidency and call for parliamentary elections. One party will win and the other will be the opposition. We need to create a strong opposition from this.
During the opposition leader's speech, an individual acted in an unruly manner.
Please be seated. I think he has had too much ethanol. After the 8th, all of this will be stopped. We will stop drugs and ethanol altogether.
Another public rally was organized by the United National Party in Alutgama last night.
Once on Sirasa TV, they got me to come there and asked what would happen to Minister Rajitha Senaratne if none of these demands are met and if I have to cast aside my ministerial position and step out. This was some time back, before I stepped down. I told Sirasa that Minister Rajitha Senaratne will be no more, but Rajitha Senaratne will continue to move ahead. Now that Rajitha Senaratne is moving forward.
Mahinda Rajapaksa is saying to vote for him, that 10 years is not enough. He says that the power needs to be centred around one person for another 8 years. Maithripala Sirisena says do not allow the power to be centred around one person and power needs to be vested with the parliament where the public representatives are. That is why I am asking you which is right and which is wrong.
Speaking at a public rally held yesterday, UPFA parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa questioned the manner in which the executive presidency could be abolished in 100 days.
Namal Rajapaksa, together with Minister S.B. Disanayaka and Provincial Councillor Susara Dinal, canvassed for votes in Udunuwara.
Can you abolish the executive presidency in 100 days? It takes an even longer period to create a constitution. They have completely misled the public. This is an attempt to try to get something they cannot. They have attached new pieces of fabric to their clothing, which is not the national clothing. I do not even know what to call it. We do not have an issue with this. This is according to the likes and dislikes of the alliance. That is not a problem. But if you are trying to do this with politics, then come with policies. Let's talk about the future of the youth of this nation and how we can uplift the lives of the citizens of this country.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna held a rally in Kantale yesterday. This is what JVP leader Anura Kumar Disanayaka had to say on crossovers.
An MP in Parliament told me that no matter what, he will not be able to enter Parliament the next time around. I told him that there is no guarantee we can give him on a system for him to come in. So he asked me what he should do. He asked if he could cross over for some money. I told him to go for the highest bid. What else am I to say? They talk and enter the deal. That is the truth. If MPs are being brought to cross over, do we need such politicians?
Also speaking at this meeting, the JVP leader said that he is committed to protect the voting rights of the people.
Now plans are afoot with regard to the losses. There was nothing said so far on losing. All the time they spoke of winning. Now they say that even if they lose, they will remain for another 2 years. How can that be? We guarantee this to you. Go and vote against Rajapaksa. If he tries to remain another 24 hours after losing, we will bring together all the democratic forces in the country and chase Rajapaksa away. We will guarantee your right to vote.
Deputy leader of the UNP, Sajith Premadasa, says that through a Maithripala Sirisena rule, measures will be taken to provide good fertilizers for farmers.
Speaking at a public rally in the Venivellara area in Suryavava last evening, Sajith Premadasa says that the government has broken its promise to provide fertilizer at a concessionary rate. They promised to give fertilizer for 350 rupees, but they have failed to do this. Furthermore, the government takes 150 rupees from farmers as an insurance premium. They bring substandard fertilizer from China and Africa, and instead of trying to uplift the farming community, the present miraculous alliance government are leading these farmers to their death. I would like to promise to you that on the day Maithripala Sirisena takes his seat as president, we will import high quality fertilizer, and we will not give it for 500 rupees, but for 300 rupees.
A number of local politicians crossed over to other parties today.
Chairman of the Ahaliyaguda Pradeshya Sabha, Sarath Sandanayake, extended his support to Maithripala Sirisena today at the party office of the presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front. Opposition leader of the Karandeniya Pradeshya Sabha, Dushan Karivasam, UMP Urban Council of the Hivela Mount Lavinia, Chris Baltazar, JVP Habarado Pradeshya Sabha member Asok Edrivira, UMP Habarado Pradeshya Sabha member Nama Priyanta, UMP organizer Fambalangda Premalal Navan Nandana Silva extended their support to President Mahinda Rajapaksa. This was at the UPFA press conference convened today. At a UMP public rally in Ingiriya yesterday, former SLFP Western Provincial Councillor Ernie Kitulgoda extended his support to President Mahinda Rajapaksa. SLFP Kaltura District Organiser MM Amjad announced today that he too would extend his support to presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena.
This evening, a certified extract of the court journal of the Kurunegala Magistrates Court containing what transpired in court on the 3rd of December in the case pertaining to the Bishop of Kurunagala, the Right Reverend Shanta Francis, who is accused of alleged fraudulent drawing of the pension of his deceased mother-in-law for over 12 years, was issued yesterday. The extract, certified by the Registrar of the Kurunagala Magistrates Court, reads that, quote, "The accused should be arrested and produced in court," unquote. The magistrate had postponed hearings of the case to the 11th of February 2015. The document has been certified by the Registrar of the Kurunagala Magistrates Court. The Colombo Cycling Challenge, organised by the MTV-MBC Media Network together with the Diabetes Association of Sri Lanka in order to create a diabetes-free Sri Lanka, will be held on Sunday the 22nd of December at 8 a.m. at Independence Square, Colombo. A press conference was held this morning ahead of the event to create awareness on this initiative at the MTV-MBC City Office in Colombo.
9 cycles representing 8 channels of MTV-MBC and Newsfirst came in a parade from Independence Square to the head office located at Braybrook Place. A street play performance took place by law students in order to create awareness on the importance of cycling and creating awareness of this initiative. Later, a press briefing was held. The panelists expressed these views ahead of Sunday's event.
As you know, 350 million people around the world are affected with diabetes. And instead of looking at the impossibilities of this disease, what we want to do is come on board and create awareness and look at the possibilities of living with, managing and preventing diabetes. I think that is our role as a responsible media. The fun part of this starts on Sunday, so we would like to invite all the enthusiastic cyclists to join us in support of this cause.
In Sri Lanka, there is more than 20% of the population is today affected by diabetes. Now, this is also now going into very serious illness, and we as a group have supported serious illness such as this, like Alzheimer's, cancer and diabetics, much way behind time we have started supporting it. And today we are proud and happy to partner with our 9 network for this noble cause, because we have always been part of projects which supports building community and also keeping them safe.
The chairperson of the Cycling Association of Sri Lanka and Dr. Mahan Vijayasuriya, and I thank MTV for all the support they are giving for the cycling cause for a diabetes-free Sri Lanka.
Larger numbers are getting into this illness, but we can't get them out of the illness that easily, because we have no cure to offer you once you are a diabetic. So our offer here and now is to prevent diabetes from engulfing your body. Exercise can protect and prevent all of you from becoming patients. So in the exercise arena, cycling is accepted as the best form of exercise, outdoor and indoor, but we really promote outdoor cycling as a very relaxing form of exercise. So we want to mention that if we are to make Sri Lanka a diabetes-free country, we may not achieve our goals, but we can definitely protect and prevent any new person, any young person mainly, from getting this condition. So I hope all of you will come on Sunday and participate, because doing nothing is not an option for good health.
Cycling enthusiasts displayed their skills and stunts at the conclusion of the event.
3 suspects arrested in connection with the arson attack on a stage erected for a political rally in Wadurambagol have been remanded. The suspects were remanded after being produced before the Baddegama Magistrates Court today.
The arson attack targeted the grounds where a campaign rally was to be held for presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena. The police arrested 3 persons in connection with the incident, and they have been remanded until the 29th of this month after being produced before the Baddegama Magistrates Court. When the case was taken up, Deputy Minister Nishantha Muduhettigama was also seen at the court complex. Although it is our government and our president, we did not receive any justice. We never thought that people who were sleeping at home when this incident occurred would face such a situation. Law has turned into lawlessness. I will take severe action against the police for this. I will complain about this to the Inspector General of Police. The police did not carry out their duties. The police officers assigned to guard the location had left their posts and gone home. Instead of remanding and interdicting those officers, the OIC and the ASP have taken 3 innocent people of ours.
police padre family करनो किसी के ने पहले नहीं हिलना है किसी के ने पहले नहीं हलना है
So we have received information that 3 suspects who were in the police custody had been taken by a local politician by force, and thereafter again the police have taken charge those suspects at the premises of Baddegam Pradesh Sabha, and they have been produced in Baddegam Magistrate Court. However, we have initiated investigation on the issue. DIG Goal has appointed an ASP to conduct investigation. So if the investigation reveals that that particular politician has taken charge these 3 suspects by force, we are taking action against the politician. And apart from that, officer in charge of the Vanduruma police, especially his neglect of duty, and apart from that, non-complying the orders given by the police departmental orders in respect of the suspect. So we are taking a stern action against the officer in charge of the police station, and apart from that, the politician or other persons who are involved in the incident, irrespective of their status.
Meanwhile, shots were fired at the home of former UNP Riddhi Mali at the Pradesh Sabha member W.M. Ratnayaka by an unidentified group early this morning. While the house sustained minor damages in the incident, no one was hurt. The Mahiyangane police are conducting further investigations. I had been threatened before and I have received phone calls. I have lodged an entry with the police. It is Anravidhanagama's people that came and did this. There is a council member by the name of Rohana who is aware of this. I believe this to be true. I do not know anything about this. I was at rallies over the past several days. Since I am ill, I come to those rallies from hospital. I just attended another one. Asked the police to look into it. Meanwhile, activists of the Frontline Socialist Party were attacked this morning while putting up posters in Gotatua. Our reporter says that a group of people travelling in a van had blocked the path of their 3-wheeler and assaulted them. While the 3-wheeler has been damaged, 1 person has been hospitalized.
Issuing a communique on the recent remarks made by the Minister of Higher Education, S.B. Dissanayake, the Friday Forum says that the Minister should make a public apology and resign. The Friday Forum notes that on the 12th of December 2014, Minister of Higher Education S.B. Dissanayake said that the former President of Sri Lanka, Chandrika Kumaratunga, should be, quote, put down on the ground, trampled, stripped naked and made to run along the streets, unquote. It adds that this is a terrible statement to come from any individual, but that a Minister of Higher Education, a supposed role model for young people, felt it was even remotely appropriate for him to make such a statement is truly appalling. It further reads that as the election fever for the presidential election mounts, there is a lot of talk about institutional change, better economics and a fight against corruption. The Friday Forum goes on to say that Minister Dissanayake should resign forthwith, making a public apology to former President Chandrika Kumaratunga and to the country, and the Attorney General should look into the possibility of taking legal action against him. Meanwhile, an event to mark the National Day of Qatar was held in Colombo last evening. The event was held to coincide with the National Day celebrations in Qatar. The event was graced by government and opposition public representatives and members of the diplomatic community in Colombo.
Steps have been taken to make permanent the appointments of 4,800 workers at the Ceylon Electricity Board. whose services were obtained on contract basis from manpower agencies. A subject minister, Pavitra Wanyarachi, made this announcement at a press conference convened in Colombo today.
Some persons have been employed via manpower agencies for over 10 years. So we reached a policy decision. We have decided to recruit them as employees who will be paid by the CEB.
They will be recruited to the CEB. You are aware that one cannot be easily recruited to the state service because there is a protocol to follow. There are classifications in these appointments. The qualifications of these persons were never looked into. After they are in the state service, they cannot be removed.
And with that, we wrap up the news for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Rahna Farooq.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder, you can keep abreast of all the news we add tonight by visiting our website, Newsfirst.lk. You can also keep up to date with all the developments from the presidential election stage by following at Newsfirst_EN on Twitter. Good night and good luck.